Humanities. My name is Julie Fry. I am president and CEO of this wonderful organization that has been around for over 40 years, making grants and delivering programs that help us to understand each other. In the words of Maya Angelou, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike, and that is kind of at the core of what we do, is helping us to understand where those connections are. We're very excited to have RYSE here and this lovely student art, young people's art on our walls. And I hope you have had a chance to enjoy it, or we'll spend a little bit more time with it. But for now, I want to turn the mic over to Dan Riley from RYSE. Go Dan.
Hi everyone, my name is Dan Riley. I'm the Director of Media Arts and Innovation at the RYSE Center. For those of you who don't know, RYSE is a youth center in Richmond, California. We serve youth ages 13 to 21, and we provide a lot of services kind of to address all their needs and wants. So we have education and career services and counseling services, and our media arts and culture programming, which produced the artwork that you see here tonight. It's just one way that we engage with young folks and really work to support them, make sure that their voices and visions are kind of elevated in the community. So this year, a lot of our work kind of focused around the theme of Richmond Renaissance. It was anchored by a theatrical production that we put on about a week and a half ago in El Cerrito. So it was a full-length youth written and produced play, theatrical production. But connected to that theme was a lot of other arts programming. So we had our visual arts team, represented over here, who I'll acknowledge in a second, you know, working on the same kind of theme, video work and music as well. So a lot of our kind of programs in the arts focus around this idea of Richmond Renaissance. I think what you see around here today are kind of artistic representations of the exploration of young folks of what that means. So we don't try to over-program a lot of times and say you have to make a piece of art about what you want to see, like what does, you know, Richmond Renaissance mean to you? We need an answer. A lot of times we use arts to support young folks in how to explore the ideas that we place in front of them. So I think a lot of what you'll see around you today is kind of artistic representations of the exploration of what Richmond Renaissance means to young folks, not necessarily all the answers that they're providing us, because it's not what we're asking for. We're trying to create safe spaces where they feel empowered to kind of engage with themselves and with their peers and with adults in thinking through some of these things. So I think that's a lot of the kind of what's captured in the art that you see today. That's just a little bit about kind of what's here. There's a few acknowledgments. I'd like to acknowledge our visual arts team, Agana and Francisco, visual arts coordinator Agana and visual arts assistant Francisco. They do amazing work with young folks on a daily basis. Some of the young folks that are here in this room that are connected to them and work with them can probably speak to it better than I can. But just the way that they engage youth, make them feel comfortable, get them to explore new ways of producing art, new ways of understanding themselves is really, really extraordinary. So if you look in the hallway and you look at that artwork, I don't even know where that came from. I saw the final exhibit, like these are the brain children, whatever that made that happen. So want to acknowledge them. Rashid, who's the incoming program director for the Media Arts and Culture team, he's going to be overseeing all of that starting on Monday, like holding that, and has done an amazing job. And then the young folks themselves that made it out today and produced all this amazing artwork. Because honestly, that's why we're in this work. So I think it's really important to acknowledge them. So thank you guys for coming and for sharing all your artwork with us. And then also Cal Humanities for opening up the space. I think it's really, really amazing that an organization like Cal Humanities is willing to kind of partner with us and open up space and give youth kind of a voice in a setting that they don't always have access to, but I know is super empowering to see their artwork kind of up and around. So thank you to Cal Humanities for the opportunity to kind of share our work on this thing. I had some notes. I didn't refer to them. Hopefully I touched on everything. I think I'm done.
You're done.
We're all around if you want to talk to us more. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dan. Can I invite Francisco up here? I do have notes, so I will be reading from them. Just because I think this is something important to say, and I don't want to miss one bit of it. So one of the biggest losses a city can face is when their youth grow up and move out, settle abroad, and contribute to their community that isn't their home. Sometimes it's a balanced trade-off. People move in, other people come back. But oftentimes it means that the loss of a voice that can speak to the history of that place and offer sound judgment about what that place should be is gone. So I'm joined here by one of our artists featured. He's a photographer, actually a multimedia artist, but his photography is featured on our walls. His name is Francisco, and I'm going to ask him a few different questions. As Dan said, he's a visual arts assistant, but he started off at RYSE as a youth artist, just like a lot of you guys. So it's nice to know that people are coming back to RYSE because they had such a positive experience, but also to know that someone like Francisco is staying in his community and contributing positively to it, making sure that the history that he's grown up to know about the city stays there, and that it's reflected into what the city hopefully becomes. So welcome, Francisco. Thanks for lending your art to us, and also for being here to answer some questions that we have that people are wondering. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, how did you get involved with RYSE? How did you find out about them?
I found out through RYSE through a friend of mine that was doing a photojournalist program at RYSE. And it was like a year-long course, and he was explaining it to me, and I kind of fell in love with the idea and concept of it, and went into the space, and kind of just sat in the first workshop and just like was around all these like new people, around like all these great opportunities, and I just kind of fell in love with the space at the same time. So me and him did the program for about a year, and then it just kind of continued on branching out from there.
How old are you when you?
I was probably 17 or 16 at the time. I was in high school.
Yeah. And so now you're back as a visual arts assistant. What brought you back?
I mean, a lot brought me back. I mean, I was going to school so close. I was still in Richmond living there. I feel like I spent a lot of years there before, and there was something I was kind of missing from like being at school and still being in Richmond, which was my outside community. So I think that all the connections and interacting with like young folks that were there, but as well like the staff, I felt really connected to. I decided to go back and kind of come back into more of a kind of more of like a with a curiosity of like teaching and wanting to expand that way.
So since we're on the subject of Richmond right now and today in general, since we're celebrating RYSE, can you talk to me about how Richmond, the city, how the culture of the city has influenced your art, and if it's influenced your art as the city has changed in probably the past 5, I mean, I hesitate to even say 10. I think there's probably been a lot of changes in the past 5 years. So can you tell me like how that's reflected in your work?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of adventuring around Richmond as a young boy just kind of like opened up my eyes at a very young age, and just kind of sat with those ideas and those memories, and wanted to just figure out how to incorporate that in visual work, so I think that a lot of like the places I photograph, a lot of areas I enter are somewhere where I've had a connection, or I've heard stories, or I've just been I've just heard some sort of like comment about it. So I think that it's very local based and very location based. So I feel like it's kind of very important to acknowledge when approaching my work, because I feel like that kind of sets like the mood or the feel like that my work. And just and you know, it might be a little broad for other folks, or it could be very disconnected for a bunch of other people that aren't a part of Richmond. But I try capturing stuff that might connect to them or might bring back some sort of memory of theirs at their hometown, whether it was Richmond or not. Yeah, I try not to make it a lot, just so it can be a little bit more open for people to just really connect with the work.
Can you talk about a place in particular that you photographed that you want to share a story about?
Yeah, maybe not work that I have up in years, but I feel like it's been part of the same series. I think that, I'm just trying to trace back. I photographed a lot along the Greenway, so I think Richmond is this big repath that leads all the way to Berkeley from Richmond, from the Richmond Park Station, and then along there's tracks, and there's all sorts of fences. It's kind of all boarded up, but it's also very bright. But I think that there's a lot of folks walk that pathway, and I think that there's a lot of like journeys and a lot of time spent there with folks that are like traveling from one place to another. I think that it's kind of an important place to just highlight and remember that these are like the path of like folks that live in Richmond, the path that they take everywhere. So there's been a couple of photographs.
So I like this idea of what you said just a moment ago about how you don't like to label your artwork so that more people can connect to it, that it's not specifically Richmond. But I guess what is one thing that you would want people to know about your city, your hometown, through that art? What would you want them to like take away, or what people that are moving in, because there's all kinds of new people moving into Richmond. What's a piece of history or story that you'd want them to know that means something to you?
Yeah, I think that a story or something I would want people to take away might be just kind of like a sense of history in the space, and kind of like the past, kind of like the past people that lived there before I was even there. I think that it's very important to just like keep in mind that the city has always been kind of this change from that city that's it's like now still trying to figure out what it is, but as well just like moving forward with our past and our history. I think that one of the images I have in the space with Fox was very important to me, just because music was always big for me, and I was always kind of just wondering where like music spots were in Richmond, and never really had that. I always had to travel out for that. And when I found out that there was a Fox Theater in Richmond, I was just very surprised and just wondering why I was over there. I was able to find the address and just kind of spend time in that location, and just kind of felt connected at a moment. And I think that was a very like just like nice like healing space for just like being a part of like of what Richmond resident, just to know that we were able to hold that.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. It's really great to learn more about what Richmond means to somebody who knows it really well, but who is aware that it is changing, and there are many new people coming into that city, and I'm sure over the years we'll see more and more new people coming to Richmond. But it's nice to know that somebody is actively preserving and reflecting back on its history to make sure that even an abandoned building story is not lost, and we know that it was important to somebody at some point. So thank you, Francisco. And thank you to all the youth artists at RYSE for lending their artwork to us. I believe we have a live performer. Is Maggie here?
This one's called Self-Care, and it's one of the women's album, RYSE. Look at yourself. See yourself in the mirror. As you think you're an object, but you will start opening in the sky. Everyone can see you shining so bright. The sun in your eyes, the way it hits way side to side, that's another pain. Yet that's what the pain, melting your anger to lava, turn your tears into rivers. You are beautiful. Never let them take your shine away from you. Do not let them change it to make them happy. It's okay to be different.